Welcome to the Marketing Revolution podcast. This is the underground movement of savage marketers from all over the world. We are not Fortune 500 companies. We are real entrepreneurs with real businesses that have one major thing in mind: to set goals and devour them daily. Because we understand that everyone wants to eat, but only savage marketers are willing to do the hunt. Now let's get this revolution started. Hey, what's up, everybody? John Hiley here with the Marketing Revolution podcast and the Marketing Savage Facebook group. Hope you guys are having an amazing Saturday. Little bit late on the podcast here. It's actually Friday at 3:50, and it took me a little while to come up with something today. So I actually took a little bit of time, listened to some different inspirational things, and then I started thinking about kind of running behind today because last night was the presidential debate, and there just wasn't no way that I was going to miss that. Even though it just didn't seem as exciting as what I thought it had seemed or was going to be. However, last presidential debate and previous to that last night, actually inside of my mastermind group, we had a webinar with a lady named Wendy Takaharo, who is a systems expert. Some of you guys who listen to my previous podcast know that I am all about creating and building systems that run your business, and then we have the people manage and run the systems. But it was pretty cool because we actually had this webinar that we did last night was about employee onboarding. I'm going to have a podcast about that sometime next week, but I really got to go over and watch the webinar again. I was trying to run the whole thing and manage the comments and stuff like that, but just the knowledge that was dropped in that hour-long webinar was insane. And man, I'm telling you guys, I thought that I had a pretty good training process, but when it comes to, the way that companies hire and train, especially that of bigger companies that are training lots of people, it is incredible. Like the steps that you've got to do to bring and onboard these employees on, so you can actually guarantee their success in your company. We'll get into that deeper, but that's kind of what's put me behind today. Woke up a little bit late. I did that thing where I hit the snooze button and then it went off on me again, because I try to wake up at 4 a.m. because I try to get 2 of my 75 hard workouts done every morning. I try to get that done before I even, get into my day, but I was only able to get 1 of them done first thing in the morning. And about midday, I started thinking, I'm like, shit, there's something I got to do. And then I remembered that I had I had another workout that I had to do. Thankfully for me, I've actually got a bench and I've got weights right here in the shop. So I'm able to step out of our office area here and do my workouts right here. So that is why I am sitting with you. And many of you guys know that I normally only work till 3:30 Monday through Friday, but I'm sitting here at 3:52 and doing this podcast for you all. So but one of the things that struck me today is the pleasure and pain principle. And I want to clarify something because, a lot of my podcasts are very inspirational. I talk a lot about different techniques on how to walk in abundance and how to walk with faith. But man, it's never going to be perfect, guys. And in fact, you wouldn't want to live a absolutely perfect life where every moment of the day you felt fucking amazing. It would be a weird existence, and it would probably wipe out the pleasure of what it feels like to feel amazing. Because literally, if we didn't know what it was like to go through pain, we wouldn't even understand how great the pleasure is when we step into that mindset where we're able to walk in faith, we're able to walk in abundance, we're able to live in moments that are very fulfilling. We wouldn't even be able to distinguish or understand how great these moments are if we didn't have painful moments. Okay. And another thing I want you to understand about human psychology is that as human beings, we're being moved towards pain or towards pleasure all the time. So in fact, them are the only reasons that we actually move one way or the other in anything that we do. We're either literally we're making a decision based on moving away from pain, meaning the situation or whatever it is right now is so painful. I'll give you an example. I'm supposed to sit down and write my book, but right now that feels so painful that I'll go and take a nap. Right. So the pain pleasure principle can work for you. It can also work against you in the scenario that I just described. Meaning, I know that I'm supposed to write my book, or I'm supposed to edit my book, but for whatever reason, it feels that that would be such a painful activity that I'd much rather sit down and watch TV, or I'd much rather go and maybe do some busy work instead of doing what I need to do. Now, the good part about pain versus pleasure is that it can actually also kick you into action to do what you know that you need to do. When literally we have situations where, we're down to the wire and you immediately have to kick into action and take care of something because the pain of not taking care of this one thing uh, exceeds the pain of actually doing the work and taking care of it. Many of us can see this in our taxes. What is that, April 14th or April 15th or whatever it is? But I mean, it's almost like everybody procrastinates on that because it's very painful to go sit down and do it. And it's boring. Even my accountant is great. Like literally, you wouldn't even think he was an accountant, because he's so fun and happy. But it still fucking bores. Like literally, makes me bored out of my mind while I'm sitting there going through my taxes and shit. And then not to mention, I'm getting ready to be told how much money I've got to pay, and that angers me, right? So what do? We procrastinate, right? I try to get the latest tax filing appointment possible. But you know what? When that time comes, like I know that I got to fucking be there because the pain of not filing exceeds the pain of sitting there and going through my taxes. I talked about this before because this is how I actually got my book written. I talked about how I went live in my mastermind group and I wrote a check to the Clinton Foundation, to the tune of like $5,000, and pretty much said if I didn't have my book written and off to the editor by a certain date, then I was going to send the check to a business coach of mine, and he would send it to the Clinton Foundation. Uh, so what that did was that I actually was able to tap in and rewire my mind to begin to associate with more pain. I was able to associate more pain with the not doing of the work. Okay. What I'm telling you guys is like everything important in your life, you got to find a way to associate more pain with the not doing of the thing. You've got to focus on how painful it would be to not accomplish this one thing, especially if you start to see the exact opposite happening, meaning you see yourself actually. Uh, you see yourself actually moving towards doing things that you shouldn't be doing, kind of like I described at the beginning. You find yourself doing things like, well, instead of writing my book because it feels so painful, I'm going to sit down and watch TV, or I'm going to go do something else. Right. So if you start seeing these things happen, especially in important areas of your life, meaning, sales calls would be a great example of that. Right. There's a lot of people who do not like to do sales calls. They do not like to do follow-up calls. But if your business and your life is contingent on doing this one thing, then you've got to begin associating more pain with the not doing of the work. So get creative with that, guys. Think of ways that you can hardwire your mind or change your paradigm and the way that you think about these things to begin associating massive amounts of pain without massive amounts of pain associated with the not doing of the important shit, with the not doing of the work. And you'll begin to see yourself excel in many areas of your life that once were very painful to excel in. So that's the pleasure pain principle that I want to talk about. But I also want this to sink in like, look, y'all, there is no superhuman fucking And I even see these guys out there. There's these people out there that try to proclaim that they're like these superhumans, that they've got it all down, that they know all, and they teach all, and they are the guru for fucking everybody. And because they've got this one way, this one massive discovery that they've found in their life that has literally taught them that everything that there is to know, and you should model them and be like them, and blah blah blah, bunch of bullshit, a bunch of bullshit. Now we can model things that people do, but when you have somebody come at you, and I've learned this, and they act like that they're like this perfect being, they're typically trying to build some sort of desire inside of you, to want to pay them money to be like them. And I can tell you right now that I know some of these guys, and I actually love some of them. And it's typically all a bunch of bullshit. Like when you drill down past the surface, you'll find people that feel that act as if they've got all their shit together, and they're fucking mental like train wrecks. Um, it is absolutely incredible when you begin to meet some of these folks like off camera or one on one, things like that. Now there's the exact opposite. There's like real motherfuckers out there that are really trying to help, and they're not bullshitting you like they're some poor, perfect human being. Like I'm telling you, man, if you guys are chasing this perfection in your life where you're going to be happy like 100% of the time, it's very, very likely that you're never going to get there. The only people that that I've ever heard of, because is like a Buddhist monk, and they've literally got to strip themselves from every worldly possession. They've got to live by a certain code. They've got to they basically live alone. You know what I mean? Like, or in like a monastery, they don't marry. So they don't reproduce children. They don't have sex. They strip themselves from everything amazing in their life, and then somehow they're able to find happiness during that process. So unless you're willing to go do that shit and then tell me how it looks in like 30 years, then I would stop chasing this rainbow out there that doesn't exist, and just understand that you really should take the painful moments in your life and just digest them and feel them, because if it wasn't for the pain, we wouldn't have these moments of pleasure, because we couldn't distinguish one from the other. It takes polarity. It takes that type of polarity for us to appreciate the pleasurable moments in life. So it's not always going to be perfect. And myself, man, I've been in kind of like a slump the last couple days, and I've done everything to try to get out of it. But I just, I feel like I'm just kind of like tired, and I feel like, I know that I'm going to come out of it. You know what I mean? And I know that I'm going to get back on track, but I'm just down here living life, man, and, it's like propping me up by the jukebox when I die. I mean, it's like that. I kind of feel like it's, and when I say that, I kind of feel like it's like that old country music, you know what I mean? That was kind of depressing, but you still enjoyed listening to it. So sometimes your life can be a little bit like that. It can be like a depressing country music song. But if you kind of tune in, you can appreciate that part of your life as well. Just be grateful, be thankful, and be happy. Focus on the amazing things that you have, and it'll be all right, guys. So, anyhow, y'all, I appreciate you for coming along on this episode of the Marketing Revolution podcast. And I want to invite you to the Marketing Savage Facebook group, where we have literally just tipped the scales and got over 1,000 members inside of the Marketing Savage Facebook group. And it's popping in there. It's starting to pop, guys. So you know how I am. I mean, I'm going to put my mind to it, and I'm going to keep the engagement high. And you guys are going to see some really cool things coming between now and Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So, all right, y'all, appreciate you. And do not forget, if you love the podcast, please go write me a 5-star review. And for any of you guys who are watching this video, it is the Marketing Revolution podcast on iTunes. All right, everybody, appreciate you. We'll see you on the next one.